It is wonderful to see your beautiful faces. Thank you. Thursday was hard for me this morning. I don't know about you. We can do this. We can do this. Only announcement I have is that this morning you're actually going to do 2 sets of God siding railroad tracks. Raymond's going to tell everybody. We've got to get our tracks going for the mountain. So we're going to do 2 sets of that. So for yesterday and for today. Games will be outside this morning. So games will be dismissed first from the gym this morning. They'll be out on the front lawn. And I think that's all I have. Anybody have any questions? All right. I'm going to pray us for some energy because I have none. So. Dear Lord, thank you. Thank you for our wonderful red shirt people. Thank you for bringing them to our church and to minister to our children. Please help give us energy and positivity as we continue to shine the light for Christ and show these children how much Jesus loves them. In your name we pray. Amen.
Are you awake? Are you ready to have another that group is way awake. Way awake. Are you ready to have another great day here at Rocky Railway VBS? All right, well, stand up and show me how much. Let's sing our theme song. We trust in who? Jesus.
We trust in you, Jesus. You're all that we need. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you.
Good job.
You give us hope and life that's forever. You make us whole.
Good.
And we stand together. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. spaces for wide open eyes. We're looking ahead for the next big surprise. Oh, 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 oh. We trust in you, Jesus. You're all that we need. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. You give us hope and life that's forever. You make us whole, and we stand together. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. We're off on this journey. There's no looking back. With Jesus to lead us, we're on the right track. Oh, 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 oh. Wide open spaces for wide open eyes. We're looking ahead for the next big surprise. Oh, 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 oh. We trust in you, Jesus. You're all that we need. Your power will pull us
I
through.
can't hear you this morning.
Trusting in you, trusting in you. You give us hope.
Get ready.
That's forever.
Good.
Stand together. Your power will pull us.
We're trusting. We're trusting.
In you. We're trusting in you. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting
hear you.
in you. We're trusting in you. We're trusting
Leaders, are you awake?
We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you.
Good job. Good job. Have a seat. Have a seat. Okay. So we have been imagining all week what it would be like to be on a steam train traveling through the Rocky Mountains, right? And it takes a lot of power to pull a steam train up a mountain. We talked about how the steam in this kettle can make enough to make it whistle, like there's enough power in the kettle to make it whistle. And that made me start wondering, what else is powered by steam? If you know something else that's powered by steam, just yell it out to me. Trains. Cars. So a long time ago, they used to use steam to power tractors, to power cars, ships, all kinds of things like that. So steam can create a whole lot of power. But today, we're going to talk about God's Son, about Jesus, who's all of his words are right here inside this book. And he has an awesome, bigger than depth power, bigger than anything that steam could create, bigger than any power you can imagine. And there's a verse in the Bible that reminds us about this same awesome, unbelievable power that brought Jesus back from the dead. That same power is the same power that lives inside of you. And we're going to talk more and more about that today. But there's a special song that we're going to learn this morning that's called The Same Power. And we're going to stand up and sing it. I don't know the motions that well, so I'm thankful that my friends over here do. But I want you to really listen to the words too when you're singing it, okay? And believe it, that same power that can raise Jesus from the dead is the same power that lives inside of your heart and that can help you face anything that life throws at you, okay? So let's stand up and learn this new song called The Same Power. So I'm going to learn it with you. I'm going to watch my screen. You watch these girls and these screens.
Same power that rose Jesus from the grave, the same power that commands the dead to wake, lives in us, lives in us. The same power that moves mountains when he speaks, the same power that can calm a raging sea, lives in us, lives in us. He lives in
Have a seat. So that big power of Jesus, we've been talking about how we can see evidence of Jesus' big power all week through our God sightings. We've been talking about that all week. Sometimes we talk about big things, like we see a mountain that reminds us of how big and mighty God is and how the big things he can do. But sometimes God's power can be shown in tiny things. So I want you to think for a minute, if you can think of something tiny, a tiny God sighting, something that is little but still reminds you of God's biggest power. While you're thinking, I'm going to tell you what mine is. So raise your hand if you've ever seen a newborn baby. You ever seen a newborn baby? So I have 3 children, so I've had 3 newborn babies, right? But my newborn babies were really tiny. They were tinier than your normal newborn baby. And one of my daughters, who's over helping in the preschool, all 3 of my girls are here helping with me this week, but one, Olivia, who's over in the preschool, when I held her at her tiniest, she was only just about 2.5 pounds. Can you imagine a 2.5 pound newborn baby, how tiny that is? She was so tiny, but she was evidence of huge miracle of God, right? She was this huge blessing in this tiny little baby. Tiny baby. Can anybody out there think of something tiny that reminds them of God's big power? Miss Kristen's going to come around and let you share. Let's be respectful of our friends and listen.
I saw a rock that looked like a cross.
That's a great one. Thank you for sharing that.
Ant reminds me of how mighty God is because it can pick up big things.
Yes, they can carry their own weight. That's amazing. That's a great one.
The Bible.
The Bible, yes, the Bible is a small book, but it has so much power and so much goodness.
The birds, because they remind.
That's a good one too.
Baby animals.
Baby animals, is that what you said? That's a good one.
Yourself.
Yeah, because some of you are kind of small right now, aren't you? You're not full grown, but there's a lot of potential and a lot of God's love inside of you. That's a good
bunnies.
one. Well, yes. So much of God in a bunny. I love a bunny. Last one. You forgot it? That's okay. So crew leaders, if you will take out your God sighting stickers, and during this next song, if you'll put on 2 instead of 1, because we forgot to do it yesterday. So 2 God sighting stickers you can put on during our next song. We are going to sing Everywhere I Go, because everywhere we go, we can see evidence of big and small God sightings, right? So stand up and let's sing Everywhere We Go. And crew leaders or crew leader assistants, if you'll make your way to put your tracks on during the song, that would be great. You remember Everywhere I Go?
Everywhere I go on this road, high and low, where I go with you. So I won't be afraid, this my home, come what may. Where I go with you.
Good job.
Where I go with you. There's a spirit I cannot contain. There's a spirit I cannot contain. The same power that raised Jesus up from the grave, the same spirit I cannot contain.
Get ready.
Everywhere I go on this road, high and low, where I go with you. So I won't be afraid, this my home, come what may. Where I go with you.
Let me see you.
Where I go with you.
Let me hear your oath.
Where I go with you. Breath upon these bones, your fire in my soul, your kingdom is my home, and I don't walk alone. Everywhere
Okay. I'm going to talk about something here. Okay. So if you've traveled on a train or you've gone on any trip, it has a beginning and it has an end, right? Yeah, as much as we want to stay on vacation forever, it usually comes to an end and we have to go back home, right? As much as we want VBS to last forever, eventually it comes to an end, right? So that's what happens. And life is like that too, right? We all begin when we're born, like the tiny baby, tiny little Olivia that I was telling you about, my tiny babies. And then eventually our lives end when we die. But let's look at that a little bit closer, okay? Let me be sure everybody can see my table here. So imagine for a minute you're born. Okay? Then what happens next in life? Let's say maybe you go to preschool. Maybe you go to, what do you go to next? Middle school? Elementary school. Kindergarten and elementary school. Okay, we'll go with that one. Okay. And then what do you go next? Middle school. After elementary is middle. Yeah. And then you have high school. And I'm going to have to start with this cup. Then you have high school. After middle school, you have high school. Then let's say you go to college, right? College. Okay. And then let's say you get a job. Yeah, maybe get a job. And then let's say you have some kids. And then let's say you have some grandkids. Yeah, then you have some grandkids. And then let's say you stop working and you retire. And then let's say at some point, even after you have grandkids and you do all of that stuff, at some point, life comes to an end. At some point, life comes to an end, and there's just no more left. Right? At some point that happens. It runs out. Life runs out. But when we think about the end of life, it can make us really sad. Does that sound like a really sad thought? Yes. But with Jesus, Jesus' power is amazing. And with his life, and with his power inside of us, with the life that he gave and his power inside of us, this bottle that's empty, that we were just poured out empty, can go on, and it seems like it's empty, but it can go on and on. I'm like going to mess it up. And on forever, and it will never run out. God's power inside of you means that you can live in heaven with him, and it will never run out. Isn't that an amazing thought? Yes. Okay, so we're going to learn about how Jesus died on the cross. Can you make a cross for me with your arms? We're going to learn a special song about how Jesus died on the cross. It's called The Old Rugged Cross, and you're going to stay seated while you learn this song, okay? You're going to watch the screens. You don't have to do any motions, but I want you to really think and listen to the words of this song, okay?
On a hill emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain.
Sing along if you can read the words.
So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. And I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown.
Okay, so now you kind of know it. I want to see if you can sing it with me, okay? Same thing again.
Far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross
I can hear
where the
this side.
dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. And I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. And I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown.
Yeah, I think the cross deserves a round of applause. So you're going to learn a lot more about that cross today and what that means and what it meant for Jesus to die on that cross. So you're going to talk more about that the rest of the day. So I want you to be thinking about the images of that cross and what that means, and we'll talk more about it this afternoon, okay? But I wanted to let you know I heard some really good news. I heard that Cam, remember how yesterday he was so worried about getting up and down the mountain? He was scared and worried and concerned. I heard he made it. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. But we'll probably have to check in with him later because I think it'll probably take him a while to get back. Cam, I didn't expect to see you.
Well, I finally made it.
I didn't expect
I'm
to
here.
see you. But what happened? Why do you look so, exhausted? I thought riding on a train is just riding on a train. You're not, pulling it.
Well, everything went great.
Yeah?
We made it over the mountain and delivered the M&Ms. Everyone was so happy. Then
That's great.
we turned the train around and headed back to the station. That's when I started to think about how great it would be if I could get here faster.
Did you miss us? Oh, that's sweet.
Of course. Whew. Give me a high five. All right. But to get the train to go faster, we had to make more steam.
Oh.
In order to do that, we had to make the furnace hotter. And in
Okay.
order to do that, we had to put in more coal. So there we were on the train, adding in more coal, but it wasn't enough. So we had to add in more coal, but it still wasn't fast enough. So we added more coal, more and more and more.
And you made it back super fast.
Nope, we ran out of coal.
Oh, that sounds frustrating and tiring.
Yeah, just when I thought we were going to make it, the engine stopped. It was a scary sound, let me tell you. We were miles away from here. I hacked to help to get the rest of my crew, and I stayed here with the train.
Well, I guess everything comes to an end eventually. At some point, everything runs out. Trains stop, people graduate from school, grown-ups retire. It's just a part of life, Cam.
Wow, that's not the most encouraging thing you've ever told me.
Well, let me finish. Today, my friends and I are talking about how Jesus' power lets us live forever. That's our Bible point. Yes.
Wow, that is the most encouraging thing you've ever told me.
See, I just needed to finish my story.
Well, but I've never known anyone who lived forever.
Well, you need to hear more about Jesus then, Cam. He's my forever friend, and I'm happy to tell you more about him.
Well, let me find a train that can go rescue my crew. But then I want to come back and hear everything you have to say. Sounds great. I'll be here forever. All right. Well, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
So today, we're going to help Cam learn that Jesus' power helps us live forever. Today's Bible point is that Jesus' power helps us live forever. Let's see what Bible Buddy's going to help us remember that.
Are you ready to splash into another fantastic day at VBS? I'm Finn, a rainbow trout. I'm happiest when I'm taking a dip in a clean, bubbly mountain stream. This is the life. This stream is where I began life. This exact spot where I hatched is pretty important to me, but we'll get to that later. I spend most of my day flipping my fins, swishing my scales, and exploring this awesome river looking for food. I love to eat. Me and my fishy friends spend about 80% of our day looking for food. I use my mouth to poke around and look for good stuff to eat. And sometimes I end up getting a mouthful of weeds and sticks. Not bad. Of course, it's not as good as the bugs or the crustaceans I usually like. I'll even jump out of the water for them. God gave me something super sharp to help me find food. My eyes. They show me what to eat and what to stay away from. After being born, I might travel to a new stream far away from my home. But when it's time to lay eggs, rainbow trout always return home. My cousins, steelhead trout, travel from a freshwater stream all the way to the ocean. Even if they've lived in the ocean for a couple of years, they swim against the stream to make it back home. That takes a lot of power. Wow. Home is important to me and my fish family. Jesus knew that a forever home was important too. That's why Jesus died, to pay for all the wrong things you've ever done or will ever do. Because those sins are paid for, you can have life forever in an awesome place called heaven. But Jesus' power doesn't just cover your sins. Jesus is so powerful that he beat death forever. But it gets even better. The Bible tells us the Spirit of God, who raised Jesus from the dead, lives in you. That means a friendship with Jesus gives you the same awesome power that let him beat death. Wow! So, if you're feeling worried or sad, or things seem out of control, remember that Jesus' power is bigger than anything, and it's right there for you. Jesus' power lets us live forever. Trust Jesus.
That's right. So just like my water bottle that never ran out, your life will never run out if you have Jesus in your heart, because you will live with him forever. And I can't wait for you to learn more about that in all your stations today. I'm going to draw our Spotlight VBS number today. E9. E9, where's E9? Yay! Okay, you guys will meet Miss Heather Horn by the information desk to get your instructions. We are going to dismiss in a certain order again today because games, let me have your attention, games is going to be outside. So crew leaders, you don't have to move your buckets. You can leave those where they are. But if you're going to games, you are going to dismiss first. So go ahead and stand up and head out if you are going to games. Group 2 is going to be Bible Adventures. So go ahead and be gathering your stuff, Bible Adventures, but let games get out first, please. All right, Bible Adventures, be ready to go, please. Bible Adventures, you can head out. Next up is going to be Imagine